Hi, friends. Okay, so um, I said I was gonna do another video today, so now that I'm back home, here I am. So, this is a topic that is very important to me personally, and it's very dear to my heart. Why it matters going out in nature, and that's a personal thing to me. Okay, I've been going to this place now since I'm gonna say somewhere about September last year. It's always the same woods. I want to go to some other places too, but I don't feel like having to drive too far away from where I am right now. So, the reason why I go to this place a lot is because not only the convenience of being like 10 minutes away from where I am, but I personally honestly I really like the place a lot. It it's very peaceful, very calm. I feel I feel really at home when I go to this place, and this is why I go there a lot. So in the past, you know, couple of months specifically, I have developed this connection with some of the trees there. It's about 8 trees or so that I always take time to stand by them. I hug them all. I talk to them. Call me crazy, judge me, I don't care. It's what I do because I like to do it and it makes me feel good. And it also is a way for me to acknowledge the presence of these trees as the living beings that they are, that I know they are, and as the knowledge and the wisdom that they possess for being in this place for the amount of time that they have been. You have to remember and keep in mind that most trees out there have a much longer lifespan than a human. So, if they could speak to us hypothetically, and it's not a hypothetical thing because they can, but usually the way they do these things is not the way you think. Even though if you develop a deeper connection with a tree for long enough, it takes a lot of work though, but it is a possibility they will speak to you, literally, like telepathically speaking, I'm saying. So, like I said, I've been doing this for a while. About, I'm gonna say, last 2 months. It's been a pretty daily ritual for me. I go there, I do my walk, and as I go through the trail, there is a specific number of trees that I always stop by them and I hug each and every one of them and I spend some time with them, usually about 5 minutes each or so, and I talk to them and I always make a point to say to them how thankful I am for their guidance, their knowledge, their wisdom. I always tell them how much I love them, and I don't really care, you know, if anyone watching this thinks that it's crazy or whatever, then it's this video is not for you. But I think it's important that some people understand how I've said this a couple of videos ago, and I'm gonna say it again. I really truly believe that nature is the best healer that there is when it comes down to internal conflict that a person may have, if you're struggling with any of that stuff, whatever it may be that you're trying to heal within you, childhood trauma, you name it, the list is endless. That could be so many different things, right? Nature will help you speed up that process immensely. There is something about the natural order and flow of life that exists in such an environment as going deep into the woods, practicing earthing, which is something that I do every day when the weather is good, and I've been doing that for a while now. I do at least 30 minutes a day of barefoot on the ground while I meditate. And after I'm done doing that, then I will continue down the trail, and there will be more trees on the way up until the point where I do my stop, my first stop. That's where the third tree is. Like I said, it's about 8 or so trees. But yesterday, as I was doing that, and I don't know if it has something to do with some releasing that I've done recently, that I was still clinging to some things, and I finally totally let that go completely. It's done. It's over now. And but yesterday, for some reason, when I went and I did this, and as I am talking to the second tree, I still have my hands on the tree. Both of my hands. I always keep my hands on them after I hug them to talk to them, to keep the connection, because I like to feel them. Something incredible happened yesterday, and I was even talking to my son about that today. I had to call him today when I was before I did my meditation, and I was sitting on the spot that I usually sit. I called him and I said, I gotta share this with you. And I told him what happened. He was like, wow, that's really cool. But anyway, as I am talking to this second tree, and I'm about to take my hands off of it because I'm finishing what I was saying, I felt this jolt of energy. This is the best possible way that I can explain this. It's hard to explain, but if you felt what I felt, the only way to describe it would be a jolt of energy. I could feel this energy flowing from the trunk of this tree, from up down. It came from the top of the tree, and it kind of traveled through, until it reached me where I was. And when it hit my hands, I felt it. And I don't know how to explain it, but basically the best way to explain it is, if you have watched all of my content, and if you haven't, I highly encourage you to do so. There's a lot of good stuff in there. But when I first started this channel, it's one of the very first videos that I made, maybe the third or fourth one. I can't quite remember which one it was, but it was one where I was sharing a specific dream that I had many, many years ago, when I was going through a really dark phase of my life. Call it a dark night of the soul. That's what it was. If you're not familiar with what that is, look that up. Where I had this dream, and I saw this being on this dream. It was a female. And I'm not going to repeat, what I said on the video, but I'm just to make a long story short, I saw this being. She was a female, young female. I can't tell how young she was because it was a dream, but she was younger than me. Well, That's what she looked like in terms of physical appearance, right? And I basically poured my heart out to this being, uh, and I was questioning her in the dream why all the things that were happening in my life at that time of my life were happening, and how I told her how I felt it wasn't fair. Basically, I told her that, I had always been a good person all my life, and all these things were happening to me, and I just was having a real hard time accepting all the things that were happening to me because it felt unfair at the time. And as I hugged her, well, after I said what I had to say, she looked me she looked me into the eyes, and the way she looked at me, the way it felt, the only way to explain it is that I felt like she pierced through my soul when she gazed into my eyes. And then she hugged me, and she softly, whispered into my ear, and she said that it was okay, and that I had to go through that stuff, and it was okay, and she reassured me that everything was going to be okay. and and this is not a memory that is easy for me to share with people, because it's always a very, very personal, extremely emotional thing that happened to me at the time. And the reason why this was so impactful to me ever since the day it happened, and by the way, something like this has never ever happened to me anymore. I have never seen this being anymore. But I know she was my divine mother, divine feminine aspect of myself, whatever you want to call it, the feminine aspect of God. And the reason why I know that is because the love that I felt that came from her through me at that point when she hugged me is something that I have never ever experienced from anybody else in my life. Ever. Not even my physical mother, not even my grandmother. And I love my mom like, like any son or daughter would love their mother. And I loved my her mother even more so. And I am telling you, the love that this being had, that she was just radiating, and she engulfed all of my being into it. It was something otherworldly. It's the best way I can describe it. There is no way to describe it. You would have to experience something like that to know what it feels like. So to my shock and disbelief, yesterday I felt that same energy when this tree jolted me, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that I was able to feel that again from a tree out of everything. And it was very, very touching and extremely emotional. It really put me to tears. I don't know how to explain it, guys. And then today when I went back, that same tree, I felt that again. Not with the same intensity as yesterday though, but I felt it again today from the same exact tree. And I I treat all these trees basically the same way. I talk to them all almost the same speech that I have this whole ritual thing that I when I talk to them, I kind of talk to them the same with every single one of them. I don't really change the talk that much, you know. So I don't know, neither do I understand why out of all the trees, this one specific tree, I have this really, really powerful bond with this one tree. And that's why I'm telling you, and this is why I'm making this video. Going out in nature is a powerful thing, my friends. These living beings, there are things that they can do that we obviously forgot about, because when people talk about things like this these days, it's either ridiculed, tossed aside, disregarded as fantasy, or whatever label you want to put on it. But I assure you, there is no fantasy at all when it comes down to what I have experienced yesterday and today from this tree. So I'm here to tell you, and I can't make any promises that this is something that is going to work with every single person. You know, this is what I do. I've always felt that I had this connection with nature since I was very small as a child, and this has always stayed with me throughout my whole life. And now more than ever, I know that this is one of the best things that I have ever done, that it has truly changed my life, especially in the past few months, in the sense that my personal experience with nature and trees is, to me, when I go into a place like that, I feel like I am stepping into my own divinity. It has awakened certain things in me that have been asleep for so long. And I am so grateful for it. And this is why it is very important to me that I always do that as much as I can do every day when it is possible, because I want to keep this energy flow and connection always open, because it has only benefited me in my life, especially recently, more than anything else that I have ever done, spiritually speaking. So I know I've said this before many times, and this video is already getting longer than I expected it to be. But I am telling you, spend time out in nature. Do yourself a favor, especially if you haven't done that in a while. Go out, pick a place, look it up on your phone, a hiking trail close you, whatever. Pick the one you want to go to, whichever one you feel like this is the one I want to go to. And then take your shoes off, put your bare feet on the ground, let the earth flow through your body. Let that energy, those electrons, reconnect. People are so lost, scrolling and wasting their time on so many useless things that don't add any value to their lives, when they don't realize that nature can do so much good for you in so many ways. And it's sad that most people don't even care about these things anymore. But I'm here to remind you that that's good for you. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with that stuff. So that's the experience that I wanted to share with you guys today. That it happened with me yesterday and today. And if you felt what I felt, you would understand how deep this stuff is. So now I'm done, and I'm gonna leave this one here, okay? I love you all. Never stop loving yourself. And I will catch you next time.